Yo, America! Now Mondays are funnier than ever because Valerie's coming up next. Alf and Valerie. What an hour of comedy. I wonder if they give Nobel Prizes for that.
Wherever you are, to Alf-splaining, and not especially serious podcast is exploring our mutual fascination at the American sitcom Alf, which, as we all know, ran on NBC between September 1986 and April 1990. We'll laugh, we'll cry, we'll become insurance salesmen. But who is this we that I talk of with my mouth all speaking and good? Well, it's me, Ben Baker.
And me, John Matthews. And we've got a special guest this week. He's a special guest you've heard before because we've only got one friend.
I was going to say our interview with him was so popular because we're bowing to obviously incredible public demand to once again include someone much more successful, handsome and witty than us. It's only Phil Fletcher.
Hello, cockers. Welcome to Alf-splaining, the podcast where we explain Alf.
Alf. It's good.
It's good. Not Alf Roberts. It's not Alf Roberts, is it? Have I got the wrong podcast?
Have you watched the wrong clip again?
Yeah, I've watched the best of Alf Roberts. No.
So this has been the problem. I've been researching Alf broadcast dates in the British newspaper archive, and Alf Roberts has become my nemesis because of the
nemesis. Do you mean not Brian? Not Brian Mosley.
And my favourite thing is not to do with Alf. When Coronation Street ran the other side of the Queen one year on ITV on Christmas Day, and it's him and Audrey sat down going, "We've got to watch for this Queen." And then it cuts to the Queen's speech, and they cut back to them and going, "Oh, that were a lovely speech by Her Majesty."
Oh, you see, that's the genius of Corrie, and that's all I've got to say on the matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So, unfortunately, this isn't Corrie-splaining, it's Alf-splaining, and we've got Phil in for a special episode, not like a regular sitcom special episode where someone learns important information about, I don't know, not doing that or putting that there.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that. Don't be dirty. Don't be dirty.
Don't be dirty.
It's a clip show. It's a bloody clip show. And the clip show is an unusual thing. It's not a very British thing because we don't have shows that run usually long enough to require...
To warrant clips.
We don't have anything worth showing, generally. But yeah, it's a very odd thing that we know through stuff. And are there any clip shows that jump to your minds?
There was one I remember, which was a random one. It was a Prisoner Cell Block H clip show.
No way.
Really?
Yes. So it happened, I would guess, maybe episode 450 or something, and it was a tenuous link because B. Smith left in episode 400. Then about 450 there was a tenuous link by doing a clip show where the people currently in prison were going, "Oh, B. Smith, she was a right bugger," and there's a clip and then she would do this, and then at the end the phone would ring and they'd go, "What's that? There's been a fire at Barnhurst. Yeah, anybody all right? B. Smith's dead." So B perished in the fire at Barnhurst. The end of the episode of the clip show, which she'd left the series 50 episodes earlier or something. So it was just a way of making sure she would never get written back in.
They did a similar thing. Obviously, Dustin Diamond, who after Saved by the Bell was an awful human being, apparently. Yeah. God rest his soul. But when
God rest his mucky soul.
The muckiest soul in showbiz.
You lads are catching up, though. You're catching up. No, in the I don't know if you know, they did a new Saved by the Bell a couple of years ago, which was not bad, actually. And they went, "Oh, it's good that Screech is up on the International Space Station." As if to say, he's not going to be it.
They couldn't get him any further away.
Yeah. Some fun about clip shows. And it's a weird one, the clip show. This in particular, is episode 16 and 17. It's a double episode. Try to remember.
It's long.
It's two. It's 2 episodes. So
it's too long. I thought you were going to say then. It's too long.
To be honest with you, if they've got room enough for the entire rock video, then yes, it's too long. This aired originally February 9th, 1987. It got 17.3 million viewers on Eyes, 25th most watched show of the week, between Knots Landing,
right,
which I know I just don't remember the name. I don't remember anything about it.
No, you made a good point there. I feel I should know what Knots Landing was about, but I have no recollection at all of it whatsoever.
Good title.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, and one you will remember. Highway to Heaven.
Oh, yes. The classic with Harry Seacombe. My favourite.
Harry Seacombe would walk in every week to a different town.
Solve a crime and fly away.
Yeah. I mean, it's what Sundays are all about, really.
Like Columbo with wings. And 2 eyes.
Make a note of that one. Columbo with wings. I'm going to pitch that. Definitely. It was ahead of Magnum, Miami Vice, The Equalizer, Simon and Simon.
So you're saying that the clip show did better than other shows that were just not clip shows? Unbelievable.
Yeah, Hill Street Blues, Sent Elsewhere, Spencer for Hire, and Mr. Belvedere Special, which I assume was the one where he sits on his own balls.
It's a full house with Susan Anton, Dr. Joyce Brothers, Edwin Newman, Bubba Smith, and Tony Danza. Hey, guys. When Mr. Belvedere returns Friday.
Well, I thought about this, why they've done a clip show at this point in the series. And maybe these increasing ratings mean they've put a clip show in so that the new fans can catch up on earlier storylines.
Yeah, makes sense.
So they don't miss out on the complex story arc and progression that is built through on Alf.
Yes, obviously. Yeah. I mean, that's one theory. The other one is the code for its production code for it is 1023, which implies it was supposed to be at the end of the series.
That would make sense.
And I feel, this is my theory, which is mine, that basically been pulled forward a bit because of all the on-set sort of delays and shenanigans and stuff. I don't know if that's true, but it's well established, isn't it, that there was lots of trouble building Alf.
So you're saying there are no clips in it that are from episodes that aired after it?
There are 3, but we'll get to those in a minute.
Oh my goodness, because I've not watched it in years, the series.
Yeah. No, that's partly why we got you in, as we thought, well, rather than do his usual features and stuff, for top willies and the like, as this is a best of, which is going to be the highest willy content of all of it, obviously. So it'd be interesting to get a fresh pair of eyes on things we've previously reviewed.
Exactly, we couldn't really do this as a normal thing, so that's why you've been parachuted in to save the day, as it were.
Thank you. It's nice to be involved.
Yeah, a second eye on the willy, so to speak.
I was surprised, actually. What shocked me when I watched that just then was when he says he's 45. I thought, 45?
I know. Well, we discussed this in a previous one, like how old do we think he is? And we have had it confirmed in this episode.
Is this the first time we've had his age confirmed? I said he could be anything. I said previously, you could tell me that Willie was any age between about 31 and 68. And I'd go, yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When they said 45, I thought, God, he must be older.
It's about his real age, isn't it? Did we work it out? We discussed this previously. He's actually, in real life, he's about 47 or 48 at this point, I think.
But it's so weird. It's weird when you are that age yourself, because I thought, God, he's much older than me.
Well, he is much older than you.
Well, he's now.
Well, I mean, he's as old as it gets, really.
Yeah.
If you consider death to be the ultimate age.
It is.
He can get no older.
Well, I think they could bring him back with AI. I think an AI Willie and the regular Alf for a new series.
We can do the voice.
No, Alf, you shat on my carpet again.
Oh, he has a funny... Alf. Me shortwave.
Sent to prison again. Alf. Every week he got sent to prison by Alf in this new one.
There's did you ever see the photographs of him towards the end of his life?
Oh yeah,
online?
Yeah.
You must have seen them.
Yeah.
He has a look of Charles Autry when he was retrieved from that fire.
I thought that.
Did you think that? Harter was carried down the ladder and he was livid because he was ablaze, but they wouldn't let him put his wig on.
Tragedy and comedy go hand in hand.
They do, and not more so than in this episode, which starts with what could be considered a tragedy. Alf loses his memory in this one, and therefore some clips happen.
This is the complicated and interesting element about this episode, in that it was originally aired once with a different start.
Yeah, so, I mean, we the first view we get in this is Alf in a shower cap and towel, which is a beautiful image, only from the waist up, in case you think I'm,
In itself. Clutching a manual whisk.
And the manual whisk is very important because it was originally shown once with Alf carrying an electric whisk to the bathroom.
If anybody wants me, I'll be in the whirling hot tub.
We don't have a whirling hot tub.
I know. I'm going to improvise.
Any milk for me? No, sorry.
How about me?
All of it.
I wish these insurance companies would leave me alone. I'm already fully covered through the auto club.
Why was he carrying my mixer into the bathroom?
He said something about a whirling hot tub. Oh, you don't really think he'd put an electric...
No, even Alf knows better than to take an electric appliance into the bathtub.
There's a huge bang, and he staggers out again, having electrocuted himself in the bath. Now, obviously, some kid tried to copy Alf and his whirlpool bath experiment. So I've heard.
There were complaints.
I believe somebody tried to do it.
I could well imagine. Even though in the original broadcast version, there is actually a little PSA in the middle of it where Alf says, don't do that, you dickhead, just don't.
Yo, folks, listen up. I want to make sure you understand one thing. Water and electricity don't mix. Now, we had a lot of laughs tonight, but there's nothing funny about electrical appliances in the bathtub. It's very dangerous, and you can get hurt badly. Tips from the old Alfer. And speaking of tips, that'll be $5.
They must have realised after filming it that it wasn't a good idea, and they'd better put a few disclaimers in.
Yeah.
At what point did they reshoot it up to? When he comes out, or including when he comes out? Because it seemed like that happened in the episode I've just watched.
I think the sounds are still off camera. So rather than hearing a sort of thing, we just hear a thump.
Why was he carrying my mixer into the bathroom?
He said something about a whirling hot tub.
Whoa!
Ow!
They refilmed the bit, obviously, where he walks off camera. I think everything after that is
as
we saw it. But we're getting right to the end of the episode, but it's a special episode, so it doesn't matter. The policeman comes in at the end, and I believe on the electrocution version, the policeman who has found the electric whisk in the bath makes some comment about how you shouldn't mix electricity and water or something like that, which was then redone to say 33% of accidents happen in the home or something like that.
Yeah, there are minimal things, which we'll get to as we go along, but there's like some bad overdubbing of voices and stuff. But yeah, basically, Alf has an accident, whatever version you're watching, and because he's been reading insurance policy papers that he's been sent in the bath, he now believes he is Wayne Schlegel. He's an insurance agent of Michigan Life and Casualty, and thus the entire episode is basically, no, you're not, you're Alf, and showing
those clips.
Showing those clips through the medium of eyes.
It's a clever plot design to get the clips in, and it's also a standard sort of sitcom plot as well. People lose their memories. It seems to happen a lot in the 80s in sitcoms.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've never had amnesia.
How do you know?
Good point.
Well, who said that? Where am I?
But I've never had a bath with a manual whisk, so I didn't want to whisk it.
That's why he's a professional entertainer, ladies and gentlemen. And we're just hacks.
No, I'm hacks.
Not hack, no, not hack, that, no.
They're different, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. Here's a clip.
I mean, literally, here's a clip.
Wayne Schlegel?
Michigan Life and Casualty.
Nice to meet you. What is he talking about?
I'm talking about your future. I'm talking about an insurance plan that will fit your needs.
Have you noticed all the clips fade in and out like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Do
The end
they?
of Star Wars, it's like the, what do they call that? Wipe.
Wipe, yeah.
It's like just like a circular wipe.
Some of them start too soon after the line, so they don't quite, it's not cut very well, actually. Some jump in before the woman's finished her last word, Kate or whatever. And the amount of times they reference that guy's name got on my nerves.
It's Wayne Schlegel.
Yeah.
Wayne Schlegel.
What, Wayne Schlegel?
It was just Wayne Schlegel. It was
Stop saying it. Stop
Wayne
saying
Schlegel,
it.
Michigan Life of Casualty.
I thought whilst watching the clips, though, because we'd seen them all before, I was less interested in what was going on. I was more interested in the puppetry of Alf.
Yeah.
I was watching his eyes and his eyebrows move and things, and in a way I hadn't before. Not in a sexual way, just in an interesting
In a weird way. Yeah.
Why not both?
How many people operated Alf in one go, and how did they get his eyebrows to work at the same time?
Well, there'd be 3 people probably, or possibly 4. There was 2 people on the puppet. One, Paul Fusco doing the head and the hand. He's left-handed as well, which is quite unusual for puppeteer. So he's got his left hand in the head, his right hand in the right hand. Somebody else is doing the other hand, the left hand. And you can tell when he first walks in, clutching that whisk, that the left-hand performer is holding the whisk in an unusually stiff way.
Okay.
Because Paul has to lean in and just grab the handle and whisk the whisk.
Right, yes.
And that will have took about 50 goes because he'll have missed the handle, he'll have missed it, he'll have been too low. So the woman, I think it's his wife possibly.
Yeah, it's Linda Fusco, isn't it?
Yeah. She's holding that whisk against the body, taut. So when you watch it again, you'll see he just comes in like a robot. So he can then go, blang, grab the handle whisk, and then it moves on. There'll be 2 people on cables. The lids, the ears, and the eyebrows will be cable controlled.
Yes, the ears go as well, don't they?
Like bicycle brakes.
That is interesting because there's these legendary stories about these 20-hour days, how it took to record and whatnot. And you think, well, why does it take so long to set up, and why does it take so long to get through it? And it's exactly that reason, isn't it?
Anything puppet-related takes twice as long. What I did notice, actually, and I've always noticed with Alf, there's very few, if any, shots of heads, puppeteer heads. You don't really see them, so they obviously did lots of takes.
Do you ever see a puppeteer's head?
I don't recall ever seeing it, and you often see it in the Muppet stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You saw it on Rainbow from time to time.
Often. You'd often see Ronnie Lee Drew's thoughts pooping up.
Floating up.
But you never see the puppeteers on Alf. So yeah, there are a lot of takes, a lot of camera work. That's why that guy will have been so furious.
And so, we have his first clip, which is from the pilot, and it is indeed Alf crashing through the wall. And again, it's an essential clip to use, but it's also not a comedy clip. It's the one bit is played quite seriously, which is like, oh my God, something's crashing through the house. Oh, it's Alf. He says it's Alf. So after that, Willie and Brian join the scene, which I can only assume they've either been playing sport or rubbing oil off things.
Well,
Willie comes in a ratty UCLA jumper with a rag.
That's our Willie's wardrobe for the week because he's only got one wardrobe this week. We know he went to we know he at least went to the shop at UCLA. We didn't know if he went to UCLA. He certainly bought a jumper from UCLA.
Yeah, no, learning is 45. Maybe that's enough Willie revelations for one episode.
I couldn't believe that. I was shocked at that. Another thing when he walks in is I don't think he says his name, and then Alf calls him Willie.
Good spot. Very good spot.
He says, "You must be Mr. Tanner," but nobody says it. Nobody else says Willie there.
Dad, Alf took a bad fall in the hot tub, and we think he lost his memory.
Oh, no. But we don't have a hot tub.
Well, that's good, Willie, because we don't cover hot tubs. It is Willie, isn't it?
Yes?
We don't cover hot tubs.
There it was. Oh, that, yeah.
So he goes, when he says his insurance agent, Brian says, have you got a job?
Oh, yeah.
And the audience laugh hysterically, like Alf with a job. Can you imagine? Yeah, he's a work-shy fop. And Brian says, call Dr. Jeff. And Willie goes, no, Dr. Jeff doesn't do this sort of thing. Who does? And Lynn says,
Dr. Demento.
Yeah, she did. She did say that. Yeah.
Which if we were doing pop culture reference of the week,
I wrote that down as my potential pop culture reference.
that would be it. But it's like, I'm assuming most households knew who Dr. Demento was at that point. We wouldn't have done, certainly. I don't think in the UK. It's only sort of in the last sort of 15, 20 years I've learned who he is, especially through being a fan of Weird Al.
Exactly. That's all I know him for.
Yeah. How would you describe Dr. Demento to someone who doesn't know?
Is the bloke who first played one of Weird Al's stuff on his radio. I mean, like, that's as far as I know. Does he wear a hat? I don't know.
He's an old guy with a beard and a top hat, and he plays novelty, avant-garde, and sort of weird, fringe, counterculture records.
So, a question.
Yeah?
Alf obviously believes he is. Oh, what's his name again? What's that name?
I can't stand it.
Why? Is it just the sounds? The vowels?
Just say, yeah.
The gloopiness?
The amount it was said, oh, God.
What, Wayne Schlegel? So he does have his business card, apparently, so he can ring Wayne's office, where he's upbraided for not meeting his secretary for what I've written down as seedy midday hotel sex. Which begs the question, one, why does he have his business card to begin with? And two, where's the real Wayne?
Well, exactly.
Where were you today? I waited at the motel for over an hour.
I don't remember.
Yeah, well, listen, Buster. If you think I'm going to wait around for you forever, you're out of your mind. Either you ask for a divorce tonight or we are through.
Okay. I'll ask her for a divorce tonight.
Did you got this scene? Did you, Phil? Did you watch on the DVD or on YouTube?
YouTube.
And the scene with the secretary was in it, was it?
Yes, when she rings, you see her, don't you?
You do.
There's about 4 different edits of this episode, and some of them, the syndicated versions, cut out some of the secretary scenes.
Right.
Some of them redubbed some of Alf's voice so that the earlier ones didn't sound so gruff and unpleasant.
Yeah, I noticed they didn't do that in the version I watched. You got the original more down here voice.
No, mine was... There was a version where Fusco went back and redid the voices on some of them so it would sound a bit more... his lighter voice, so it wouldn't be chop and change all the way through.
Yeah, some of it was that on the one on YouTube, yeah.
Interestingly.
That is interesting.
No, it is interestingly. That is what we're here for, to explain the Alfs.
Yeah, but people think we're usually quite funny, so we've been just telling facts and things. I don't want to bore people with tales of ADR whilst we're chuntering along.
No, but it's all part of the delicious Alf pie that we serve up every week.
Yum, yum.
Alf pie.
So Wayne Schlegel has not turned up to his midday tryst, which is nothing to do with Alf.
No.
You know,
the business card must have been in the letter. Why is Alf? Alf must have signed up for something, and the business card must have been in there.
It's very odd. It is almost like he's invented this character, but he's a real person, obviously. And he's just like,
he does seem to know a lot about insurance.
Yes. See, the idea, obviously, he's been in the bath. So he's been reading these insurance forms or what have you, because he's getting a lot of junk mail at the start of the episode. But he's given no time to do that in the version where he just goes, ah!
Well, I will say that he comes back out of that room very dry.
He does. There's no moisture on him.
I think you can take an electric whisk into a dry bath and you'd be fine.
Would you endorse that?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I would endorse that. I think you can do that.
Can Hacker the dog do that? Endorse that for the nature's children.
Yes. You can use them where things are dry.
Right. Right. That is
good.
Scientific
Good.
fact.
That's fact, isn't it? Yeah, I've heard of that. And he didn't have time. He didn't have time to run the bath for a kickoff because he was out about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That is also a very good point.
So I don't think.
Nor do the writers.
No. Hey. But he says, boy, you have a couple of drinks, a few laughs, and they think it's forever. Which makes me think that Wayne is a nasty piece of work, the actual one.
Yeah.
But also, Alf is him. I'm very confused as to who is the real Wayne Schlegel.
It makes no sense. And there's an interesting inconsistency of laughter track on it as well. There's some bits that have got no audience laughter on the bit I just watched. And you think, well, what? Yeah, I know it wasn't funny, but do you think they would want to make you think it was?
Well, we've pondered this as well in the past, how, they won't have had a live audience there with these 20-hour days.
No.
And every so often, a really good joke will not get a laugh just because somebody forgot to press play on the tape or something like that.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
So we get a bunch of clips back to back here. It's all very brief. And it just sort of basically going, look, Alf, this is what he used to be like. And he's like, excuse me, why aren't I wearing pants? That seems to be the most important thing.
He says pants too many times as well. That got on my nerves.
He does. And because he's not wearing pants, he's like, I must leave. And the family goes, no, cease, Wayne Schlegel. Sorry. You must remain prisoner in our home.
And pantless.
Willie takes him into the bedroom where Wayne is arranging.
It's a very realistic approach to what would happen if you did lose your memory.
And your trousers.
And without your trousers, I think. It's a hyper-realist approach.
I mean, his first thought is, did he have an affair with Willie's wife? Which then we get some footage of from the pilot. From a classic from about 3 months earlier.
Classic archival footage. Yeah.
So we did lots of clips, but Kate says, phone someone up and says, a house guest of ours has come down with amnesia, as if it's like about a flu or something.
But as any good NHS doctor would suggest, lamp them over the head with a rolling pin.
Yeah, it just reverses it, doesn't it? I believe that's how.
Well, I've seen that in Tom and Jerry, so yes, it must.
It must work.
They're still alive, and I think that's the sort of thing Hillary Jones would endorse.
There's some good wardrobe at this point because we see an incredible jumper that Brian is wearing.
We've talked about Willie's wardrobe.
Was that a Nicolas Cage film?
Willie's wardrobe.
When he attacks all them animatronics. Yeah.
Animatronic trousers.
No, without trousers. It gets weird.
Now, when he says pants, does he mean pants?
He means pants. Yes, he means pants.
Because I would say trousers. I say pants are trousers.
To wear trouser. We're trouser people.
The point I was gradually approaching was that Brian is wearing this remarkable jumper there's been a lot of good jumpers, Phil, in this series we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And this
Some
really
spectacular jumpers.
This really is the sort of jumper you could see from outer space. He appears to be dressed as a packet of multi-pack crisps. That's the kind of jumper it is. Ooh.
I mean, and isn't that the dream?
The dream jumper.
I think that was on CBBC in the past.
I'll tell you what he should have done. He should have said, right, Alf, or whatever your name is today, here's some pants. Try and get them over your fucking feet.
Well,
that's why you don't wear pants, mate.
I mean, another reason he can't wear pants is he's a hefty lad, as is underlined by some Alf and food segments, with basically Alf eating appallingly, as we've seen in many episodes. But cutting them all together makes it really quite unpleasant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can pay more attention to his lack of throat, as it were, with all the bits of food sort of sticking around his mouth.
I think he's all throat.
The clips all come one after the other.
There was a good shot when he leant back, actually, and did that, or one of his laughs, and you could see that the top of his mouth was just painted foam. There wasn't even a laid-in mouth plate. Like on my replica, I've got a laid-in mouth plate.
Yeah.
That's just a bit of foam that's been painted, because I'd never seen that angle of him. I just made that up.
That's interesting. I think I mentioned that when we did this episode, that I can't, if it may have been that specific one, but certainly there was an episode where we got a really good clear view of the inside of Alf's mouth for the first time, and it was noticeable that it was an interesting thing to be looking at. Like when the dwarf Alf runs under the bed and stuff like that. It's interesting to see these things.
Well, yeah,
it catches your attention.
We get a bit of that episode in the next clip segment, funnily enough, which doesn't seem to have any particular theme, but it does have the bit with the hunters in the cabin where we get the full body Alf. Again, very strange.
There's the shot of him with the dress, isn't there? There's a wide shot of him in the dress.
Yeah.
It's all the hits, basically.
So, Alf, as Wayne Schlegel, does say, all right, let's see if I'm following this, Willie. There are people out there who want to hurt me, so you're protecting me by locking me naked in your bedroom and feeding me sugar, which Willie says, something like that.
I'm 45.
I'm a 45-year-old man. I don't need this shit.
We're not doing the regular features as well this week, but my top Willie moment was him sat there in the bedroom with Wayne Schlegel, sat reclined on his chair with his legs akimbo, and going, "I preferred you as an alien. You may have been annoying, but you weren't boring."
We must have only had maybe 1,500 square feet. We were literally packed in there like sardines. Boy, that place was so small, I had to go into Sadowski's office to change my mind.
like Wayne's doing all these boring office stories. You know?
And all of a sudden, Willie's the cool one. He's the cool Willie, all of a sudden.
I mean, the coolest.
As far as Wayne Schlegel's concerned, he's been kidnapped. Why does he not attack Willie and just... When he was reclined against that thing, trying to keep him in, he's perfect opportunity to just go and whack him in the knackers and run out.
I know. I mean, it's a family sitcom, but in real life, I think you're right. I think that's what would have happened, isn't it? You'd have lulled him in and you'd have attacked him with your massive feet, with your mighty feet. You'd have bit. You can bite him. He's got 4 teeth. Get clamps down on Willie's area.
Willie's Wonderland.
Sadly, that's not how the part 1 ends. It ends with Alf calling the police. He calls the police. Now in Willie's clothes. He's wearing Willie's clothes, but again, only from the top down. We don't see the bottom half.
Now, are these Willie's clothes? Because it's a nice suit. I like it. I like the suit. I like the tie. It looks good on Alf.
What do you think? He's been on catalogues and he said, "I'll have that from Grattan."
Littlewoods.
I don't know what to think. We haven't seen Willie wearing anything that cool, quite frankly, this season.
To be fair, you're right. They are hip. Office businessman, suit and tie.
When I was a kid watching that, I would have, even as a kid, I would have thought, they've had to cut elbow holes in that.
Well, yes, exactly. I mean, he can't clearly be wearing pants at this point.
And what's the point? Sorry.
There's no point. In the same way, I thought they had to cut elbow holes in that for the puppeteers. I'd have been watching the Muppet Show as a kid going, how can the audience laugh along when they're doing stuff in the dressing rooms?
Logically.
Yes, good point.
It always got on my nerves, that, even as a 5-year-old.
Is that even before you'd learnt the mechanics of puppetry and things like that? You were already thinking from that perspective?
Yeah, I thought, why the audience laughing at Kermit doing jokes in the backstage area or whatever?
All I can hear is... What?
I can't cope with that sort of thing.
What you say, Kermit?
We must assume it was funny.
Why is the big gaps in this show, which is supposed to be a constant variety show, but nobody's been on stage for 5 minutes?
Why is the guest stars doing songs in the dressing room and you can still hear the audience clapping and laughing to them? Oh, God.
Yeah, the audience going, I'm fairly sure we've paid for this.
It's an excellent point, and I'm assuming we'll get to Muppet Splurning at some point in the Splurning family of podcasts.
I would like to get involved with that one more than this one.
Well, that is the end of part 1 of... Oh, no. Can you imagine another 24 minutes of this?
We've not only got to the end of part 1.
So, it's end of part 1 for Alf and end of part 1 for us, as this is, as a 2-part episode for Alf-splaining as well. So, Phil, will you be around to stay for the second part of the show?
Big time, baby.
Tell that as a baby.
That means yes, yeah.
All right. That's fair enough then. Well, again, on the socials, at Alf-splaining, tell us what you think was your top Alf clip that was or was not featured in this show. I don't know. I'm not your dad. Until next time, I've been Wayne.
I've been, I don't know, Willie?
And I've been bored.
Good morning.
Good night, everyone. Hallelujah.
I've called the police.
He's called the police.
What will happen to Alf and the Tanners? Find out exclusively next week. Or you could just go and find it on YouTube from 35 years ago. I don't know.